Okay, so the next thing is derivative of inverse trigonometric functions. For example, if I have a function sine inverse of x, then how to find the derivative of this function? I know from previous knowledge that I can write this thing as sine of y equals to x, subject to the condition that is in the interval minus pi by 2 and pi by 2. Now, if I take the derivative of this equation, yeah, because I'm considering that x is my variable, y is f of x. So it will become sine of y equals to d by dx of this thing x on the right. And I know now by virtue of the chain rule, I know that I can write it as the derivative of the function into the derivative of the base, which is the base is y, so the derivative of the base on the right it is 1. So this is cos y dy by dx equals to 1, or I can write it as dy by dx equals to 1 over cos y. We know that always the square of sine plus the square of cos equal to 1. And from this thing, I can say that cos square of x, or let's say y here, because here it is y, so whatever it is equals to 1 minus sine square y. And if I take the square root on both sides, it becomes cos of y equals to the square root of 1 minus sine square of y. Now I can use this thing into this equation 1 here. So it will become dy by dx equals to 1 over, I got the value of cos of x, that was under the root 1 minus sine square of, it was y, so sine square of y. But actually sine y equals to x from the start. So this simply means that sine square y equals to x square. So I can replace this value here. So it becomes 1 over under the root 1 minus x square. This is the dy by dx. But what is my y? My y is actually sine inverse of x. So I can replace y with that. So I can say d by dx of sine inverse of x equals to the right hand side, which is 1 over under the root 1 minus x square. So I got an inverse trigonometric function, and I derived the derivative of this function using some previous knowledge of trigonometry and the angles. Similarly, you can apply the same things in case of cos inverse. If you have a function y equals to cos inverse of x, then you can apply similar pattern, go down, and you will get that dy by dx, or the d by dx of this thing will be equal to minus 1 over under the root 1 minus x square. And some definitions: the derivative of logarithmic functions, if you have a function like this ln of x, then the derivative, you have a table of these things available on internet, you can find them. These things are universally defined. You don't need to go into the proofs, because we were going into the details of the formulas so that we understand what is happening behind. But these kind of identities, you can try solving them, but you don't need to go into the details. So the derivative of such kind of function, if y equals to ln of x, that the dy by dx in such case will be just the reciprocal of the inner function 1 over x. Similarly, if you have a function y equals to e raised to the power x, then dy by dx is always e raised to the power x, the same. Now there is another benefit of the natural log, and I'm going to show it how we can use them in simplifying our complex equations. For example, if we have an equation like y equals to x raised to the power 3 by 4 into x square plus 1 whole divided by 3x plus 2 raised to the power 5. Now, if you take the logarithm of this equation on the left and right, then it becomes easy to find the derivative of this equation. In this present form, if you want to try, if I ask you to find the dy by dx and you try to apply the rules, then the things are so much complex, and especially there is a power 5, the things become very much complex and it seems difficult. Not impossible, you can solve it. In the present situation you can solve it, but it take a lot of time. Now if I take the advantage of natural log, I take natural log on both sides, ln of whole this shit on the right, then it will become, now I know the rules of natural log. If you have natural log of a divided by b, this is equals to ln of a minus ln of b. Similarly, if you have natural log of ab, then this is natural log of a plus natural log of b. So these are the rules from the previous knowledge, you already know them. So you can apply them here. Now, if I assume this is my a and this is my b, and I am applying a natural log on both of it, so it will become the natural log of upper portion 3 by 4 into x square plus 1 minus, using this theorem, this definition, and the natural log of lower portion 3x plus 2 whole power 5. Now further the natural log will simplify the things. Now you can assume this is a, this is b, and you can apply the product rule, which says you can sum them up separately. It becomes ln of x 3 by 4 plus ln of under the root x square plus 1 minus, also you have a rule that if you have natural log of a raised to the power 5, you can write it as 5 natural log of a. The power goes back on the back of the natural log. Both are equivalent. So you can apply it here. Now the power is coming behind, and this thing which we were worried about, that how to deal with the power 5, it is now very simplified. Now you can here as well, this power will come at the back. It will become 3 by 4 ln of x plus, now it has power 1 by 2, the whole square root. So this will also come backwards. It becomes ln of x square plus 1 and minus 5 ln of this. It's simplified to that is, and on the right it will become, when you will take the derivative, now this is ln of y. When you take the derivative, it will become 1 over y into the derivative of base.
So basically easy. We just use the log to simplify the equation.
Yes, we use the log to simplify the whole situation to solve it. Of course, you can solve this directly. It's also possible. You can apply,
but that's a long process.
First apply the quotient rule. Then after quotient rule, you will again every 2 times you will have to apply the product rule on these things, and then simplify, and still this power will increase in the second step. It will become 10 in the second, when you will, the denominator will become 10. So the things are complex, but here you can do the derivative. We have a function f of x equals to ln of x. Now I know the derivative of ln of x, so I can write it as f dash of x equals to 1 over x. And if I place the value of x equals to 1, then it will become 1. So f dash of 1 is equal to 1. I also know another formula for finding the derivative. What was that? It was limit h goes to 0, f of x plus h minus f of x whole divided by h. In this formula, now if I plug in this value which I used here, I said x equals to 1. So if I put this value here, it will become limit h goes to 0, f of 1 plus h minus f of 1 whole divided by h. What is f of 1? My function f of x is ln of x. So f of 1 is ln of 1. Anyways, it will become limit h goes to 0 f of 1 plus h over h, right? From f of x equals to ln of x, I got f dash of x equals to 1 over x. So it means f dash of 1 is what? Another thing, using the definition of derivative, I got something f dash of x equals to whatever the formula. When I put the value of f dash of x as 1, I got this thing, the left hand side. Now this is also f dash of 1, this is also f dash of 1, but this is coming from here and this one is coming from here. Both are equal, so I can equate them with their values. Since what is h? H is actually delta x. You know this. So if delta x goes to 0,
Yes.
then h goes to 0. So it means if h goes to 0, then x goes to 0. So I can replace h everywhere because they are simply the change of variable. There is no change in the limit. One thing you should keep in mind, that if you want to replace, if you want to switch a variable into another variable, and if there is a limit, then first you have to check that whether the limit is changing or not. If limit is not changing, then you can switch them. If limit is changing, then you will have to define the limit. What is the new limit? But in this case, h goes to 0 also implies x goes to 0 because my h is equal to delta x. Both are equal. If h equals to 1 over delta x, I'm saying if is the situation like this, then it means if h goes to 0, then x will go to infinity because they are reciprocal. So if h goes to 0, it becomes 1 over 0. So it reduces.
So we have to change the limit as well.
Yes, but here I'm changing the limit, but both of them are 0.
Same.
Both of them are 0. So I can say limit x goes to 0, f of 1 plus x whole divided by x equals to 1.